Welcome back to Showtime Speaks, the Keep Going podcast. Super excited to have everyone here. And I know you guys are probably looking like, man, where is he? Why is he not in the studio? What's going on? Like, why? I wanted to bring something real exclusive for my audience, for the audience, not just my audience, but for Showtime Speaks, that audience and everybody who watches the show. I wanted to bring back the energy that I used to bring, the modes and the times where it was just me in a dark room, sharing my feelings and sharing my thoughts, and I think that's healthy for me. And if you want to be a part of this movement and hear this new segment that I'm going to be introducing, hit that like and subscribe button. We need to keep building this community, building up this good energy, this space of vulnerability, this space of like healthiness, man, especially as men. Me and Kenny, we get on these episodes and we get on these shows and we talk about how we really feeling. We express ourselves in ways we never really thought that we would, especially, watching Kenny and being a part of it, and me even releasing some of the things that I've released. Just super excited to have you guys, just to be a part of this journey. And this new segment that we're going to be introducing is going to be called Journaling with Showtime Speaks. And, I really, I was supposed to release these episodes, a while ago. And I was skeptical on how I wanted to do it. Did I really want to do it, especially when we got back to the main show? And I kind of pulled back from something that I said I wanted to do. And the whole point of, journaling with Showtime Speaks is basically, just sharing what's been on my heart, sharing, places that I've been in that I think that we all can benefit from. And I'm not, just being able to release this kind of information, putting it out to the world is definitely, it means something to me and it's very sacred. And, I talk about how I was feeling in these in moments in my life, in this past year or whatever. And I think that it's super important that, sometimes we go through things in our life and we don't really want to say it out loud. Or if we got a problem with somebody, or, it's just something that's really bothering us that we just can't stop thinking about. I think it's super important to journal. And I think that it's important to really, share that kind of, I don't know, man. I think that when you journal, man, it gives you a safe place to be alone in. And I found that doing this helped change my life. It helped change the way I process my emotions. It helped me internalize the things that I was internalizing. I was able to write down instead of just holding on to it. And that's really, the main reason why Showtime Speaks even exists. It was something that was I had thoughts in my head and feelings and emotions that I wanted to share with the people. And I think that this is another way for me to get deeper with you guys and continue to keep building this community that I'm trying to build within Showtime Speaks and the Keep Going podcast. But just this segment is something that I really want to bring, and I'm super excited about it. So, in this new episode that I'm going to be releasing tonight, I just really want to go in and I want to go back down memory lane. And I was in a place, when I was in Toronto where I was entering this new space. I was entering a new realm in my life, and I was leaving Winnipeg, and it was my first time leaving. And I had opportunities to leave before, but I decided to stay. And I'm a type of person where, loyalty means everything to me, and family means everything to me. So, I made a lot of decisions based off of those reasons alone. And, this was my first time ever leaving and going somewhere new. And I told myself that when I got to this new place that I was going to write. and I was going to express myself in ways that I never really expressed myself. And I knew at some point I was going to be able to share these thoughts. So, you know, I tried to be very consistent with this. And, you know, the first couple days when I first got to Toronto, I didn't really write. You know, I was so in tune and trying to, you know, get in tune with where I was, this new space that I was in. We were in, you know, Guelph. It's right outside of Toronto, and we weren't even fully in Toronto yet. We were in training camp, so I knew I wasn't going to be able to do the show. I knew I wasn't going to be able to do the podcast, and I wasn't going to be able to really speak how I wanted to, because it's kind of hard to really be that kind of person when you're going to a new team and, you know, things are a lot different. You don't want nobody looking at you like, man, like he a social media boy, he a podcast boy. And to be honest, I just said, you know what, like, to quiet all that noise, I'm going to prep myself and I'm going to prepare myself for what I know I'm going to be sharing at some point. I don't know what I'm going to go through. I don't know how this is going to go, but I want to write. And so day 1 and day 2, I didn't really get to, but day 3, and this is where it all began. And this is where, you know, I thought that, you know, things were about to be different. Things were going to change, but here we go. Hop into it. I'm about to hop into it. So, all right, day 3. The first thing I wrote was, you know, how do you feel? With a big question mark. I said, things are starting to come together. I'm starting to see the big picture. I'm seeing things differently. I'm so aware of my surroundings and the things that I do well and the things that I don't do well. Self-esteem first and self-discipline second when it pertains to the relationship with the quarterback. Finding yourself is moving and functioning through the uncomfortable and the chaos. The vision becomes clear when you're depleted, when you have nothing to give. So I sit here and I really let it all go, because I'm in a mode of completion. My state of mind is clear, but how consistent can you be? Can you recenter yourself after the hectic environment? You can only do so if you allow yourself to get to that point. You can see the vision. Can you see the big picture as to what God is doing in your life right now? And it gets a little deeper. I said, I know family isn't right. I know you've left friends and people behind and you truly care about, but it's about you now and your personal growth. What makes you a man is when your emotions are in different places and you can see through it all. And that means real success is on the way. It's so much to unpack in this first journal entry, and I'll go back into it. And I remember, like, the first day I got there, I was just like super, like, not nervous, but like anxious and just excited, and just like that first day of school vibe, that first time being able to, you know, be in a different place, wearing different colors. It was a whole new world that I was living in. I got so accustomed to being in Winnipeg and wearing blue. And then now I'm wearing a different shade of blue. I just think that where I was at and the place that I was at, you know, it was hard for me. And not being able to talk about these things are what really, it hurt me more. I realized that even though I was journaling and it was good for me, because I wasn't using my voice how I wanted to, it started to get to me. So that's why the first thing I said was, how do you feel? You know, and it's just like, it's so crazy. Even when you go to the next thing, when it talks about self-esteem first and self-discipline, when it pertains to the relationship with the quarterback. So during this time, you know, we were dealing with the fact that, like, I just signed to Toronto or whatever, and I'm there already, but the quarterback was suspended. So, like, everything was like a shock, like, oh snap. So now we had the young QB, you know, Dukes, he was in, and there was a lot going on behind the scenes, and it was just so much that I was dealing with, and it was just like self-esteem first when it comes to the QB, and that means like giving them good love, giving them good praise, like trying to work with them, and not be so hard on them at first. Cause I can be, sometimes I can be hard to deal with sometimes, cause I'm very I'm a leader. So like I demand the best out of everybody. So like certain ways on how I be with people, I be a certain kind of way cause I'm trying to get the best version of them. So like when it pertains to Dukes, like, man, we had a really good relationship, man. Like we had a handshake. And he had his times where he was really good. Then he had his times where I had to reel him back in like, bro, like that's going to be all right. And that's why I said self-esteem first. Self-esteem because, it's hard being a quarterback, and you got to give him some love. You got to love him up. You got to love him up. And that's why I said like self-discipline comes second, and being hard on him, saying like, yo, man, like you missed me on that go ball. Like, yo, you missed me on that corner or whatever. I think it's very important when you're dealing with a young QB, even just being in a new situation. I think that like that self-esteem has to be important in the relationship when it comes to building that relationship with your quarterback. Another point in here was, finding yourself is moving and functioning through the uncomfortable. So what I mean by it is, man, you remember that first day where you get to school and it's very uncomfortable. It's very uncomfortable until like the teacher like call on you or whatever. She'll bring you up to the room or something that'll make you feel like comfortable enough to be like, all right, I'm good. But it's those moments in that uncomfortable energy, that uncomfortable space, that it really makes you who you're supposed to be. We've all had those times where we started a new job. We've all had a time when we started a new relationship or we started something different or something new. And, it was very uncomfortable. But, throughout all that, and I said, throughout the chaos, the vision becomes clear when you deplete it. So like sometimes when you've given everything that you've had, and you're sitting there, you realize that like, man, this moment of depletion, this moment of me just sitting in this space, like I see the vision. I see it. I'm starting to see it. I think I see it. And it's because when you put that effort into doing what you do and giving everything that you got, you start to, when you give everything to it, you sit down and you really be like, dang, I am doing this. I'm actually in a new place. I'm actually, vibing with my new teammates. I'm actually vibing in, with this new system and the energy that come behind it. So it's just like, it was a lot. It was a lot that went into, signing and coming to this new place that, I had to deal with and I was functioning with. And I don't know, I'm just super excited that I'm able to like really like share this. And when it pertains to I'll fast forward it. I said I know my family isn't right, and I left friends behind and people behind. People don't really realize that, like, as a pro athlete, being, having to leave and having to go, and being away for 6 months out of the year or 7 months out of the year, it's hard. Those feelings, that detachment feelings from your friends back home, your family, whether you got a situation back home, whether you got, it's hard on you. And it's a mental battle. It's a mental warfare that you go through when you get that separation from your family. So, this was something that I was dealing with during the time. And, I had to really let it all go though, man, because I was really at a point in my life where I had to get back to myself. I really had to get it back. I had to get back to me, man. I get so caught up in trying to be there and try to motivate everybody and try to, that it weighs on me. And it weighed on me during that time when I was about to leave. And when I finally left and got to this new place and all the emotions that I was going through, it was a challenge. It was a really big challenge, man. And it never gets easy, when you leave home and you got to go to a new place and things are, feel out of whack. But, it was definitely tough. But it says, even through all of that, real success is on the way. And even through all of the feeling like I was separated from everybody and, the turmoil that you have with your family, whether it's a lot when it comes to relationships with your parents and whoever. It gets, it gets sad sometimes too, and I was just truly happy to be in a new place and, you know, dealing with the things that I was dealing with. I knew I had to go through it to get to where I was trying to go. So if you haven't already liked and subscribed to the channel, you know, please continue to walk on this journey with me. This new segment, like I said, I want to keep bringing it to you guys frequently, so you guys can start to see more of me, more of who Rasheed Bailey is behind Showtime Speaks. And I want you guys to, like, listen, you know, a lot of people have been tuning in. The YouTube channel's been growing. The Spotify, the Apple Podcast, everything's been growing. I want to give a huge shout out to the sponsors, Cozy Jewelers, the jeweler that keeps us cool. Oops, I meant Cozy, stop playing. Big shout out to Bites and Blends. All we know is when, you know, I'm extremely excited about the growth of Showtime Speaks, the direction that we're going in. And I just pray that you guys, you know, this is going to be exclusive content. You know, this is going to be for everybody right now, but I want everybody to know that this is going to be exclusive. I want this to be something that is very intimate to me, and I want to make sure that, you know, people know that in order to get this, you got to subscribe to the channel. So make sure you guys are hitting those likes, hitting that subscribe button. Make sure you guys are commenting, you know, all those things. You know, we see it. We want to comment back. We want to interact. We want to build this community up, this keep going community. And let's continue to keep growing together. Continue to keep walking on this journey with me, y'all. Y'all already know there's always going to be Showtime Speaks.